right now it feels like there are two powerful megatrends that are playing out in the enterprise market. The first is, the continued move by companies of their workloads to the cloud, of their applications to the cloud. And the second, much bigger trend that's playing out right now is the adoption of AI by companies. And those two powerful megatrends are driving our business and fueling the growth that you saw in the quarter. And so what we're seeing on the AI side is, this is the fastest in my career that I've seen a technology move from pilots to production. And so what we're in talking to customers, what they're telling us is they're recognizing the benefits that AI can bring into their company across the board. We have companies like Verizon that are using AI to help do customer support. We work with Seattle Children's Hospital that's using AI to inform physicians in their communications with patients. We also have companies like Papa John's or McDonald's that are using AI in the franchises. And so we're seeing broad adoption by enterprises across a number of places where they can see the benefits from AI.
You just mentioned a few examples of companies that you work with. There are a lot of small businesses, though, and even large businesses that I think it's fair to say haven't fully harnessed what you view as the opportunity when it comes to AI. How big of an opportunity is it for Google Cloud? What's a number? How can you quantify this?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right in that we're the very early stages of what is a very large sort of adoption market in front of us. Now, you look at the numbers we delivered, last quarter in Google Cloud, we delivered $13.6 billion in revenue. And as you said, that's up 32% year over year. So although the numbers are already big, we're still just at the very, very beginning of AI adoption by companies. And that's true whether you look at small companies who are starting to use it in terms of their outreach to customers to scale up their presence from a marketing perspective, all the way to large enterprises. We're just at the very beginning of this big wave.
One of the things, Francis, and I'm so glad we could get some time with you, is that, everybody kind of throws out AI and large language models generally, and we're just trying to get more of an understanding of how this all impacts our world. Drill down a little bit further in terms of the customers that you are working with, big, medium, and small, and how they are using AI and how it's going to impact our lives.
Yeah, we are seeing it show up in enterprises in a whole bunch of different ways. And so let me give you some examples. Some large manufacturers like Toyota, for example, or Honeywell are using AI on the factory floor to provide information to the people working on the factory floor to improve their operational ability, and also to provide access for their customers to engineering and technical support documents around the product. So make it easier for customers to navigate and find the information they need. We're seeing some hospitals, as I talked about, using AI to help provide physicians access to whether it's guidelines or any background information. In addition, we're seeing hospitals use AI to automatically transcribe the communications with their patients. So what AI will do is actually take the notes automatically and then upload it into the systems that it needs to. What that does is it frees up time for the medical professionals to do what they do best, which is deal with patients. We're seeing small businesses that are using AI to create marketing materials and do that much more efficiently. We're seeing large retailers like Wayfair that are using AI to create more personalized experiences for their customers when you come to the website. So you can imagine, as you're using Wayfair, you can imagine how the furniture items will look in your environment, and that provides a better shopping experience for customers. So we're seeing a wide swath of ways that AI is being used in companies.
I'm so glad you mentioned kind of the medical area and what they're doing, because I think a lot of folks come on our air and talk to the Bloomberg audience and talk about how AI might significantly impact not just hospitals, but just how we get medical care. You are the former CEO of Illumina, and I think about DNA sequencing and all of the information and data that could potentially improve how we are treated when it comes to healthcare. How are you thinking about that space and what it might mean for Google Cloud and demand there?
Yeah, I think AI is going to have a very big impact in a number of ways across healthcare, right? So if we talked about some ways where it's helping in the delivery of care by freeing up medical professionals from administrative tasks and using more of their time to actually interact with patients. In addition, it's also helping medical professionals, get access to the information they need across a whole swath of information. So, they need to be able to stay on top of guidelines as they emerge, new research research that's being published, as well as all the information on the patient. And increasingly, we're getting more and more personalized information on a patient. You talked about genomics. There are a lot of images, as well as previous lab tests. And so what AI can do is sort of take all that information and present it in a more digestible way so that you can make better decisions. In addition, AI can also help, earlier in the process of drug development. We've seen fantastic advances with tools like AlphaFold, which allows you to, deduce a 3D protein structure across hundreds of millions of protein types. What that does then is it allows you to identify maybe new druggable targets that allow you to treat diseases. AI can also help bring information together, the genomic information, the phenotypic information, the imaging information, and help us get better understanding of what causes diseases and how they develop. And that could give us new insights that allow us to think about how we can treat those diseases better. So in almost every part of the healthcare industry, you can see how AI can help improve that industry.
We're speaking with Francis deSouza, Chief Operating Officer over at Google Cloud. Francis, I want to talk a little bit about competition. For years, Amazon has been #1. According to our Bloomberg intelligence team and data from IDC in 2023, AWS had about 47% of the infrastructure as a service market share. Microsoft in second place with 16%, and then Google coming in with about 6%. How do you get to #2 and then #1?
What's really interesting is that as I talk to customers, what they're saying is there's a convergence of two really big important spaces. One is the cloud space, as you talked about, and two, AI. So nearly every customer conversation I have now and prospect conversation I have is really all about AI and how it'll impact businesses. And we are the only hyperscaler that actually has our own AI stack. So if you think about every part of the AI technology stack, Google has leading technology. So for example, on the chip side, we're one of the largest partners in the world with NVIDIA on GPUs, but we also have our own technology, TPUs, that are very highly performant, and we run them in our data centers. In terms of the models, we work with a number of other model providers. So if you go into our model garden, you can access models from companies like Anthropic and DeepSeek, but we also have the world's leading model with Gemini 2.5, which is performing really well on the top of the leaderboards in almost every part of AI. And so here, too, we provide our own leading technologies, and it's Gemini, but it's also our image models, our video models, our time series models, our weather models. And then we also provide our own applications on top of that, like Agent Space, that allow companies to easily develop their own agents. And then we have a leading cybersecurity portfolio. And so where we are differentiated in the market is that as we talk to customers, we're really the only hyperscaler that can talk about our own native AI stack that's leading technologies in each part of the stack, as well as our cloud. And that's playing really well. And that's driving a lot of the results that you're seeing, including the results we just published yesterday on the earnings call.
I got to say, it's the thinking models, the Gemini 2.5, that really kind of are blowing everybody's minds. Hey, one thing I want to ask you, speaking of customers, Tim and I, full disclosure, we talk about it a lot, are a little bit obsessed with Waymo. How much is Waymo using Google Cloud? I'm just curious in terms of keeping that all going and running.
Yeah, I totally understand why you love Waymo. I love Waymo too, living in San Francisco. I've been using it for a few years, and my daughters and I love it. As you can imagine, being sister, parts of Google, we leverage technologies that Google Cloud is building as well as DeepMind is building. And so as you could imagine, there's really close interactions from a technology perspective across these different parts of Google.
Hey, just 30 seconds left. Security. As we know, your former background, Symantec, you understand the importance of security specifically. And I'm just curious, what do you keep top of mind when you think about the security of Google Cloud and keeping it secure?
Yeah, as you point out, security is a really important area for us to focus on, and it's a core part of the value that we deliver to our customers in terms of providing a very resilient, protected cloud. There are a number of things that that are top of mind for us and for our customers as we talk about security, especially in a world of AI. One is it's important that security companies are leaning deep into leveraging AI to improve their security capabilities. So we offer agents, for example, that customers can deploy as part of their security operations center, as part of their threat intelligence gathering. And so we're also doing research on how AI can be leveraged by the bad actors, and think about how you can stay on top of providing defenses for things like, altered images and videos and deep fakes. It's also important to our customers that the security we provide works multi-cloud. So not just for Google Cloud, but that they can have the same security posture for workloads that they have on other clouds as well. And so that's an important part of the conversation too. So provide leading edge technologies, stay on top of AI and the expanding sort of threat landscape that opens up, and then also make sure that whatever you give us, works across clouds.